Thank you very much. I already see some questions regarding your presentation. So thank you, Marco. We'll move to Mr. Amir Raveh, who is the founder, CEO of Hype Sports Innovation, which I'm very, very happy to have you with us.
So, hello, Amir.
Thank you, Marco. So Amir, I'm personally very excited to hear your story. So please, the stage is yours.
Oh, thank you, Liron, for leading this webinar. And I thought, what shall I? I've had so many failure stories, and this is probably what happens where you're in the right side of the 50s. I think I chose a new one and another story, which I feel like it's the best story to tell. I see a lot of startups joining. And by the way, the last number I got from Noam, our marketing director, is 291 people registered to this webinar. And I think this is the demonstration, first of all, of how this topic, that the issue of failure is fascinating. And I think there is a tendency now around the world to talk about it, to open it authentically. And I'm happy that we're able to share and to bring those top people really to share it with our crowd. I want to share with you a very a scenario that I'm sure you've been all into in some way, shape, or form, whether you're a startup, whether you're a executive in any company. When I started my company in London, I started by offering free pilots to brands. I understood that in order to get the credibility needed, I needed to have a deal from a renowned brand. So I approached, I don't know, a big number. I managed to sign three brands. Then, not in the sports industry, it was in the telecommunication industry, and we offered the services to all the big companies. And I remember we had one with British Telecom, one I think with a big call center in London, and one deal with the Bank of Scotland. It was a pilot that, if it was successful, we then get the contract. Now, I started this without any funds whatsoever. I had a small investment, which my own money, which was like I don't know, like 10 grand, $10,000. And this is how I started the company. No rich uncle, nothing to back me up. And the first few months were much harder than we anticipated. My wife just left her position because we gave birth, and she decided to leave her job. We are very optimistic. We're starting a business. And I remember it was so tough financially. We actually lived on £2.50 a day. That was the budget, £2.50 for food. Anyway, the first two pilots were okay, but we didn't get the deals. And the last pilot was with the Bank of Scotland, and for me it was the best pilot we got. We could prove black on white that this product is amazing, it saves money, and it creates better customer service. And it was the validation, as far as we're concerned, was there. We also knew that the Bank of Scotland had then more than £70 million yearly budget to spend on marketing. And I said to myself, this is the deal, and I have to take this deal. I have to. Now, back then in the days, I remember we needed to go. I needed to use the train from London to Scotland to the head office. I remember, it wasn't easy to find the 70 quid situation. Financially was difficult to find the 70 quid to use the train on the way to from London King's Cross to Edinburgh and back. By the way, it was about 5 hours for one meeting, 1 hour, and then back 5 hours. And I remember on the way, I was so under pressure. You know, I felt that if I'm not closing this deal, that's the end of my life. I really felt that my life depends on this deal. I was, you know, I felt there is nothing. I remember I also took a small loan from my grandma of $5,000 beforehand, just to be able to keep the company going. And I really felt that if I, you know, and for me, you know, failure that day was like, it was worse than death. You know, I really felt that if death was here, failure was a bit here as far as my fear from that. Now, I remember, you know, my head is working all those hours. I get into the train station. I take the black cab to the Bank of Scotland. I go up to the second floor to meet Mr. Marketing Director. I'm sure you had those critical meetings that, you know, that you felt that you have to perform. And I remember feeling when I walked through the stairs like 200 kilos on my shoulders. And I remember getting into the meeting, very nice gentleman, short guy, and we had a chat, and then I left the meeting and finished, went back to London. Now, do you think I closed the deal? You can write on the chat. Do you think the deal was closed with the Bank of Scotland? So obviously it's a failure webinar. So
yeah. People write no.
So
Terry, Danny wrote no. Nikolai, Tata wrote no.
No one yes. Okay. So yeah, I didn't, and you know, when I thought about this later, I thought there was no way in the world he could sign a deal with me. I was so under pressure to close a deal. I was so, you know, I needed it. You know, when you come to something when you need it, you create like a negative energy. And you know, it's like when you go to to a shop and somebody's trying to sell you something, and even if you want it, you suddenly take a step back. And I remember coming back on the train, coming back to London, and I understood something, and I asked myself, how come I'm usually somebody who can perform and you know, and I know how to enroll people and get deals. What happened to me in this meeting? And I think the first feeling I had is there is something that I don't know about myself, about the way I handle pressure, the way I manage myself in stressful situations. There is something I don't know about preparing myself, getting ready to important meetings. And I think, you know, a decision that I took, maybe not on the same day, because I was like, you know, I couldn't speak. I was shattered for a few days after this, really disappointed for myself. But one thing I really realized that I have to really research this and, you know, learn what do I need to do to bring myself to peak performance in the right time, in the right place. What kind of mental preparation, what kind of mindset, what would work for me? Now, obviously, I've learned my lesson, and then I started studying and did a lot of courses and learned and you know, came up with a methodology that works for me. And you know, I'm sure each one of you, if you're in the game for enough, you know, long enough, you have your method of preparing. But I think this is such an important way of what are the methods we have to get ourselves ready so we can really be at our peak performance in the right time. And there is a way to do it, and each one can do it in a different way. I just can share whether it's, you know, some of us can do it, a questionnaire that I ask myself and I write it down about, which takes the pressure out. Some of us are doing meditation. Some of us are doing sports. Some of us are talking, as Uli shared, when I am stressful or when I share it with my friends, I share it with people. And then it takes, like the impact is going down. You know, I always envy my wife. She has a problem, she shares it with a friend, and that's it. She comes back like fresh. She took it out. So I think it's our really responsibility to take ownership of this and make sure that we can perform properly. So that's my story.
Thank you so much, Amir. Thank you. You know, I think your story demonstrates and kind of summarizes the same, I would say, theme for all of the stories shared today. That, you know, we are all ambitious people, and ambitious people are, you know, are fit for their fail, but they know how to stand back again, understand how to, you know, reconsider their steps and find the right solutions. So thank you, and thank our panelists, and thank you to our startups for being ambitious and joining here and going through the journey that each and every one of us is going towards, you know, the end or goal. But still, again, this is a journey. And I would like to first of all invite all the panelists to open your videos as well. So I'll